Warner Brothers might be winning big time with Barbie, but they can't seem to regain the trust of the DC comic book movie fans, and I think that is a direct result of the mega flop that is The Flash. Directed by Manuel Soto, Blue Beetle stars Xolo Maridueña as the 22-year-old Jaime Reyes, who's thrown into a world of bougie tech lords, alien technology, and the reality of life after college. It's a superhero origin movie featuring a Latino superhero getting his own film in the DC universe for the very first time. It focuses heavily on family, purpose, and sacrifice. It's unfortunate that the movie is being released during the strikes, as Xolo deserves his big red carpet moment. This is a huge deal, and it all could have been avoided if Warner Brothers would just treat their writers and directors with some semblance of decency and respect, and pay them what they deserve. It's now being said that actors promoting movies contribute to a film's success up to 15%. Interesting they say that now. It makes me think that actors should be compensated for that business they're bringing in. Maybe trailers alone were able to bring people to theaters in the past, but now it's much harder. So it's really disappointing to see the lazy marketing or lack thereof they did for this movie. In its opening weekend, Blue Beetle did $43 million worldwide, with $25 million of that being its domestic gross. I'd be interested to see how the numbers would have been different if we weren't in this situation. It was made on a budget of about $100 million before marketing. That's a pretty conservative budget for a superhero movie, but it's still gotta make a lot of money in the next few weeks to just break even. It could pull an Elemental and bounce back, but with a cinema score of B+, which is calculated by polling moviegoers at major movie releases on opening night, I don't think word of mouth is going to be powerful enough to make this film profitable. Blue Beetle feels like the movie James Gunn wanted The Flash to be. It hits all of the points of a superhero movie that we're familiar with while bringing its own flavor. All the performance numbers aside, let's focus solely on the movie itself. Jaime Reyes has just graduated college with a degree in pre-law when we see him meeting up with his family in the fictional metropolis of Palmera City. Jaime grew up right outside of Palmera in a neighborhood called Edge Keys. It's a neighborhood filled with a community of Mexican people that are now being pushed out due to cord industries expanding and gentrifying. Jaime feels stuck, as many fresh graduates do. He's searching for a purpose, and little does he know, it's about to be handed to him. He dreams of owning the Edge Keys one day and ensuring that it stays in the hands of its rightful owners. We meet his parents, his sister, his crazy Uncle Rudy, and his hilarious Nana. After meeting Jenny Cord, the niece of the current owner of Cord Industries, Victoria Cord, he's tasked with protecting a mysterious piece of alien technology. But he's got to follow one rule: don't open the box. So he does what any 22-year-old would do. He opens the box. What he finds is an ancient scarab, which activates and latches onto Jaime's spine. He soon discovers that for the scarab to thrive, it must be attached to a host that it will do anything to protect. I had a great time watching this movie. I could really feel the energy of the audience, despite Mr. Disgusto sitting to the right of us with his nasty-ass toes fully out. This man had to take off his socks and his shoes to sit there and prop up those sausages and act like he's sitting in his living room with a Slurpee and a bucket of popcorn. Sir, you're in public. Put that shit away. When you go to the movies, don't ever take your shoes off. It's disgusting. Even if you have beautifully moisturized, pedicured feet, keep your fucking feet in those shoes. You know the things that people wear outside? Fucking disgusting. It's a public health hazard. Thank you. I enjoyed Blue Beetle much more than I did The Flash. It had dialed in visual effects, actually funny jokes, and a strong cultural thread that allows this film to soar. It had a message that could apply to anyone's life while being written in such a specific voice. Seeing a superhero like Xolo as Jaime leading a film had me feeling like I did when I saw Simu Liu in Shang-Chi. Times are changing, and even though we've got so far to go, we gotta stop and take a moment to acknowledge just how far we've come. George Lopez was the clear standout of this film, with so many moments that made me laugh. I just couldn't help but fall in love with Uncle Rudy. His crystal clear distrust of government and ranting about conspiracy theories ended up working in his favor and ultimately helping Jaime. Adriana Barraza's Nana was another standout character that made me laugh almost every single time she was on screen. I need to know her backstory. We need a Nana spin-off, because that bitch has seen things. and I want to see what she's seen. Bruna Marquezine plays rich girl Jenny Cord, who may be Jaime's love interest, but she still finds a way to create her own identity. She's also searching for her purpose. Jenny is more than a one-dimensional hot girl, and I like that she was integral to the story and ultimately the reason why Jaime became Blue Beetle in the first place. She's an absolutely stunning Brazilian queen. There were a few times I couldn't place where her accent was from. She was from the city, she was from Europe, sometimes she was from nowhere at all. It's also just a language thing. Portuguese is her first language, and she's even said in interviews that speaking in her native language, she's nicer, faster, and funnier. So I gotta give props to her for taking on a fully English-speaking role and nailing it. Susan Sarandon plays bitchy Karen marvelously, but her character is one we don't get to learn much about. She's an okay villain with a Hillary Clinton haircut who's as racist as can be, yet her success wouldn't be possible without people of color who are smarter, kinder, and more capable than her. For some reason, I feel like they tried to get Sigourney Weaver, but the bitch was busy with Avatar shit. Although Susan was the evil queen in Enchanted, so it tracks. Xolo Maridueña is so good as Jaime Reyes. He is Blue Beetle. He's charming, he's cute, and a fucking badass. I fell in love with Xolo on Cobra Kai, and even then I could see something special in him. For some reason, I see myself in him. I don't know if it's because we look like we could be related or we got a similar acting style, but I've got a soft spot for him. So going into this movie, I was really hoping for the best, and I gotta say, he knocked it out of the park. He never came off as generic superhero to me, and his performance was grounded yet playful. James Gunn, I'm directly addressing you. You've made a lot of promises out here in the streets that I know you can't keep all of them. But please, please keep Xolo as Jaime in the DCU. And the DCU needs a character like this. The scarab, who we come to know as Kaji, is voiced by Becky G. Becky G. I truly had no idea. Part of me wishes she had a little bit more of a personality, kind of like Spider-Man's Karen, Eric and Deborah Bott from The Mitchells vs. the Machines, or even Baymax from Big Hero 6. But another part of me understands how quickly this film moves, and it could have complicated things a little bit. Although she did get a beautiful moment toward the end of the film that I absolutely loved. The suit looked fantastic on screen, and I appreciated its level of detail. I liked the expressiveness of his eyes, but I didn't love the weird way the mouth moved at times. The icy metallic blue surface blends well with a ton of different color palettes, and his jetpack gives an ode to his insectoid foundation. Which brings me to the battle of the popcorn buckets. AMC is selling one that is a replica of his jetpack, while Cinemark is selling a replica of the Blue Beetle ship. Oh yes, the flaps open in the back and you put your popcorn right in there. I can only describe in one word: camp. It's Ralph from Spy Kids 2. It even comes with a strap so you can turn it into a bag. Do I need it? No. Do I want it? Absolutely. Am I willing to pay $90 on eBay? Absolutely not. Speaking of influences, I saw nods to Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Green Lantern, Power Rangers, and Black Panther, with the biggest one being Spy Kids. The director Angel infuses this emotional core, the importance of family, into the story so beautifully. From the look of the classic Beetle ship to some of the comedic beats like the fart and that bubblegum scene, he echoes adventure tales from the early 2000s that immediately had me invested. In Spy Kids, the Cortez family is nothing without each other. Through their insane missions, they learn how strong and resilient they are. Family is the glue that holds Blue Beetle together. This very easily could have been a generic superhero movie with a story we've seen and heard a million times. But Angel brought his own life experience and his love of movies into the fold, and as a result, made a movie that feels more meaningful than just a story about a kid who gets powers and saves the day. Uncle Rudy reminded me of Machete from the first Spy Kids, and the Reyes family flying to save Jaime reminds me of the team up at the end of Spy Kids 3D. Written by Gareth Dunnet-Alcocer, known for writing 2019's Miss Bala, the screenplay is infused with humor and references specific to the Latin culture that are just so spot on. It goes to show once again how much talent writers have that we don't get to see unless they're given the right opportunity. Gareth played up that racism big time. At one point I'm like, I get it, white people bad. Oh hi, delivery's out back. Vamonos, vamonos. But then again, that is the reality of Latinos living in the world today. Jaime is immediately stereotyped despite wearing a full-on suit and fucking tie. but it allows him to use that stereotype as a cloak of invisibility. Gareth and Angel weren't afraid to show real life shit, like when Jaime's getting up trying to hide his boner after, minor spoiler, kissing Jenny. That's real. That shit happens. Sometimes he's got a mind of his own. Like, girl, I'm just trying to get up from a nap, what the fuck? The plot moves quickly but never rushes the important moments. There's a beautiful scene at the beginning between Jaime and his dad that easily could have been cut by executives who thought it was moving too slowly. But instead of becoming a superhero immediately, the script takes the time to show us what's important to Jaime, and that's clearly his family. The stakes were high and they made sense. Victoria Cord was working on a technology that would turn an ordinary person into a killing machine. We already got a cop problem, we don't need a robo-cop problem. But what makes her such a hateable villain is the fact that she's never the brains of the operation. She couldn't invent a fucking pencil if she wanted to. Shout out to Harvey Guillén for getting his Esteban moment where he says his full fucking name and corrects that white witch for calling him Sanchez. For Jaime specifically, he's fighting for his neighborhood, his family, and his morality. He knows what's right, but he still fights with himself in the face of difficult decisions. He comes out of the movie a fully formed hero who's still got a lot to learn, but he now knows exactly what he's fighting for. Blue Beetle is a fun, fast-paced ride that spends the day in the city while never forgetting where it comes from. It's not the most incredible superhero movie I've ever seen, but I do think it's one of DC's best. It's a feel-good watch that I definitely want to see again. I give Blue Beetle, it's good. I'll finally be posting my Talk to Me video later this week, so make sure to look out for that. Until then, I'll see you at the movies. Mahalo for watching. Bye.